Lyra.
I was chopping onions when the knock split the silence. A uniform. A badge. A shadow carrying bad news. Ma'am, your husband was in a fatal car accident an hour ago. My hands froze. The knife clattered against the counter.
No.
Not him. Not tonight. Not ever. He's upstairs, I said, choking on disbelief. Sleeping. Go see for yourself. The officer's brow nodded, like I had just spoken madness into the air. But I wasn't mad. I wasn't dreaming. My husband was in our bed. Breathing. Safe.
Warm.
I walked him up the stairs. Step after step, the walls seemed to close in tighter, the air colder. When we reached the bedroom, the officer's hand trembled. His holster snapped open. His gun rose. Ma'am, he said, voice cracking, stay away from him. My name is Alyssa Carter. And if you think you know how this ends, stay tuned. Because what happens when the love of your life becomes the stranger you should fear? The silence was deafening. The tension thick enough to choke me. I wanted to laugh, to scream, to run. Anything but stand there frozen in my own home. But my legs betrayed me. My heart betrayed me. And maybe, just maybe, so did he. The officer's gun didn't waver. My husband stirred under the sheets, rolling slowly onto his back. His eyes opened. And that's when I realized this story wasn't about death. It was about discovery. The gun's barrel tracked every breath he took. Stay back, the officer warned again, voice low, strained. My husband, my Daniel, blinked against the glow of the lamp. His eyes met mine first, then slid to the officer's weapon. What's going on? He murmured, voice gravelly with sleep. I wanted to run to him, to bury myself in the familiar warmth of his chest, to prove the world wrong. But the officer's stance rooted me in place. You said he died, I whispered, the words cutting through the silence like broken glass. I said he was in a car accident an hour ago, the officer corrected. His jaw tightened. And the man in that morgue has this man's face. My pulse thundered. I looked at Daniel, searching for the familiar details, the scar on his chin from high school football, the dimple that only appeared when he truly laughed, the freckle on his collarbone I used to kiss goodnight. They were all there. Every detail. Every memory etched in flesh. Except for his eyes. His eyes weren't right. Too dark. Too steady. Like a mirror that showed nothing back. Daniel sat up slowly, movements deliberate, almost rehearsed. Honey, put the gun down, he said calmly, as though he were the one in control. The officer's hand trembled harder. Sweat trickled down his temple. You don't understand, the officer said. I saw your body. I signed the report. So whoever is in that bed, his voice cracked, isn't human. The word burned through the room. Not human. I staggered back, my heel hitting the doorframe. I should have screamed. Should have run. But the air pressed heavy in my lungs, keeping me chained to the moment. Daniel, my Daniel, smiled. A slow, deliberate curl of his lips. The kind of smile I'd never seen on him before. You shouldn't have come upstairs, he told the officer, voice low, calm, chilling. And in that instant, the world I knew shattered. Because for the first time since I'd met the man I loved, I believed the stranger with the gun. The air felt electric, charged, like the moment before lightning tears open the sky. Daniel swung his legs over the side of the bed, moving slowly, carefully. Too carefully. Don't move, the officer barked. His finger hovered dangerously close to the trigger. But Daniel didn't stop. His eyes never left mine. Sweetheart, he said softly, coaxing, almost tender. You know me. You know me. And he was right. I did know him. I knew the smell of his cologne, the sound of his laugh, the way his hand fit mine perfectly in the dark. But right now, none of it felt real. What happens when the person you trust most wears a stranger's skin? I whispered, more to myself than anyone else. The officer flicked his gaze at me. Ma'am, listen to me. This isn't your husband. Your husband is dead.
Dead.
The word echoed, hollow, cruel. Daniel tilted his head, studying me with eyes too steady, too sharp. If I wasn't me, he asked, lips curving into that wrong smile again, how would I know about the $50 we keep taped under the kitchen sink? Or the night you cried after your mother's funeral and I held you until morning? My stomach lurched. Memories only Daniel could know. But the officer's voice cut through. It's not memory. It's mimicry. He stepped closer, gun trained steady now. Whatever that thing is, it wants you to believe. I couldn't breathe. Two truths pressed against me, crushing me. One, Daniel was right in front of me, alive, breathing. Two, I'd already been told he was dead. Daniel rose to his full height, taller in the dim lamplight, his shadows stretching across the floor like something unearthly. He looked at me, only me, as though the officer wasn't even there. You're my wife, he said, voice rich and full. Choose me. The officer's voice was iron. Ma'am, if you take one step toward him, you won't survive. The world tilted, split, broke. My knees shook. Daniel stretched out his hand. Trust me, he whispered. And then, the lamp flickered.
Once. Twice.
And the man I'd called my husband smiled wider, revealing teeth that weren't his. The smile cut through me like ice. Too wide. Too perfect. Too wrong. Daniel's teeth caught the lamplight in a way no human smile ever should. I stumbled back, clutching the doorframe as if it could anchor me to reality. No, I whispered. This isn't real. The officer's voice was sharp, steady now. Ma'am, listen. I've seen this before. Not here. Not like this. But I know what happens when you let it speak too long. His words rattled in my bones, but my eyes stayed locked on Daniel, my husband. Don't listen to him, Daniel said gently, his voice soft, musical, hypnotic. You're tired. Scared. But I'm here. I came back for you. Back. The words snapped inside my head like a breaking branch. Came back from where? I asked. My voice cracked, thin, trembling. Daniel's smile faltered. For just a second, the mask slipped. A flicker of something else, dark, hollow, endless, moved behind his eyes. Then it was gone. Does it matter? He asked sweetly. I'm here now. I'm yours. Don't you want what you lost? I shook my head hard, fighting the fog seeping into my thoughts. It was like he was pulling me closer without touching me, weaving my grief into a trap. The officer stepped forward. His gun never wavered. It's not your husband, he said firmly. It wears him. It feeds on your trust. Daniel's voice cut sharp, laced with steel. Shut up. The officer didn't flinch. You've already slipped. She sees it now. My knees weakened. The room swam. Memories of Daniel's laughter, his warmth, his promises tangled with this thing's presence. And yet, I saw it. That flicker. That hollow truth. Daniel, or whatever wore his face, took one step toward me. The floor creaked under his weight. My heart pounded louder than the storm I swore I heard rising outside. Choose, he whispered, hand still outstretched.
Him or me.
Life or loss. But choose now. The officer barked. Don't touch him. And in that breathless moment, the world collapsed into silence. Because I realized something far worse than losing Daniel. I didn't know which choice would destroy me. The room pulsed with silence, broken only by the tick of the old wall clock. Daniel's hand hovered in the air, steady, patient, waiting. The officer's gun was aimed, unshaking now, his finger white-knuckled on the trigger. And me? I was the fracture between them, the hinge that could swing this door toward life, or something far darker. Don't you remember our wedding? Daniel's voice was honey, smooth,
Sweet. Poisonous.
You wore that blue dress the night before, said you were nervous about the vows. I told you I'd love you until my last breath. And I meant it. My throat tightened. The memory was real. So painfully real. But the officer cut in, sharp as a blade. It knows you. It's inside your memories. That's how it feeds. Every time you believe, it gets stronger. I pressed my palms to my ears, as if I could block out both voices. But Daniel didn't stop. And what about the night we couldn't pay rent? His lips curved. I took that night job at the gas station. Remember the way you hugged me when I brought home the first $200? You said it felt like hope again. Tears blurred my vision. I did remember, down to the smell of gasoline on his shirt, the exhaustion in his smile. How could something else know that? You think a monster knows love? Daniel asked, eyes drilling into me. Or grief. Or sacrifice. Look at me, Alyssa. Look at me. My name on his lips nearly shattered me. But then the officer's voice thundered in, desperate now. Ask it something only your husband would never want to admit. Something he hid. The words clawed through my panic. Hidden. Shameful. Untouched. There was one thing, one secret, that had always hung in the silence between Daniel and me. The accident 2 years ago. The night his car came back dented, his shirt stained.
He swore it was a deer.
I wanted to believe him. But deep down, I knew better. I turned to the man in my bed. Daniel, I whispered, tell me what really happened that night. For the first time, his face faltered. The mask slipped completely. And what stared back at me wasn't my husband. It was something older. Something wearing grief, like a costume.
His face cracked.
Not literally, no flesh tearing, no blood, but in the way a mask splits when the actor forgets his lines. The eyes that once belonged to my husband turned hollow, black pools that reflected nothing back. The smile withered. The warmth vanished. You shouldn't have asked that, it said, voice lower, layered, like two echoes speaking at once. I staggered back, clutching the wall. My body screamed to run, but my heart, my foolish, breaking heart, still searched for Daniel somewhere beneath the horror. The officer's tone was iron now. Step away from her. His gun didn't waver. Sweat streaked his temple, but his hands were steady. He'd seen this before. He knew more than he'd said. The thing in my husband's skin shifted, standing taller, shoulders broadening like shadows expanding under the moon. You brought him here, it hissed, glaring at the officer. You dragged truth into this house. Now she sees me. My knees trembled. What are you? The question tore out of me. It smiled again, but this time, the teeth weren't Daniel's. Too sharp. Too many. I'm the answer to your grief, it whispered. I'm what crawls through cracks when love leaves holes too wide to heal. My chest collapsed inward, crushed by the weight of it. Because deep inside I knew I had prayed for this. The night Daniel died, I begged into the dark for anything, anyone, to bring him back. And something had answered. The officer's voice broke through my spiral. Ma'am, listen to me. This isn't your fault. But it's feeding off that wish. You have to let him go. The creature tilted its head, mocking. Let me go? She called me. She chose me. You think a bullet can undo that? The gun didn't flinch, but I did. Because it was right. I had wanted Daniel more than life itself. And in my weakness, I had opened a door I couldn't close. The air thickened, suffocating. The officer barked. Now, Alyssa, tell it it's not him. But when I opened my mouth, the words tangled with tears. Because even staring into the monster's face, a part of me still wanted to believe. And the creature saw it. Its grin spread wide again. Triumphant. Terrible. She already has, it whispered. The room seemed smaller now, every shadow stretching long and alive. The officer's gun gleamed under the trembling lamplight. My pulse throbbed, so loud it drowned the silence. The creature, my husband's ghost, my mistake, took one slow step toward me. The floorboards moaned. You don't have to listen to him, it murmured, voice silk over steel. I'm here because you wanted me. Because you couldn't live without me. Isn't that love? Love. The word pierced like glass. The officer's command snapped through the haze. Don't answer it. That thing is twisting you into a cage. Break free now, or it never lets go. But Daniel's face, God, his face, was still there. The curve of his jaw, the soft scar on his chin, the lips that had once whispered promises in the dark. How do you sever yourself from the only home you ever knew? My chest heaved. Why me? I whispered. The creature tilted its head, eyes glinting with something ancient. Because grief is the loudest prayer, it said. And yours reached me first. The officer steadied his stance, raising the gun higher. Ma'am, it doesn't love you. It uses you. Every second you hesitate, it grows stronger. Choose freedom, not chains. The creature sneered, its voice dropping into a guttural echo. Freedom is loneliness. Freedom is waking up to silence.
She doesn't want that.
She wants me. And I hated it, hated how true it sounded. Because loneliness had been eating me alive long before tonight. Tears streaked my face. I looked between them, the officer, and the thing in Daniel's skin. One offering hard truth, the other offering beautiful lies. One promised survival, the other promised love, even if it was only a shadow of it. Say it, the officer urged. Say he's gone. Or you'll lose yourself too. The creature's eyes locked on mine, endless and deep. Or say nothing, it whispered. And you'll never be alone again. The choice pressed down, unbearable. 2 roads, both carved in grief. But only one would close the story. And as I opened my mouth, breath shaking, heart splitting, the lamp flickered once more. The creature's face twisted, breaking apart like smoke in the wind.
It knew.
My choice had already begun. The room held its breath with me. The officer's gun gleamed, steady as stone. The creature in my husband's skin leaned closer, its voice dripping honey and ash. Choose me, Alyssa. Don't let me go again. My heart ached, breaking into shards sharp enough to cut me from the inside. I wanted to believe him. God, I wanted to. But belief wasn't love. Belief was surrender. And somewhere deep, through the fog of grief and longing, I felt Daniel. Not his voice, not his touch, just the echo of who he really was. He would never want me chained to a lie. I wiped my tears, forcing my voice steady. You're not him. The creature's smile faltered. Its shadow rippled across the floor, shivering like smoke in the wind. You don't mean that, it whispered. But I did. My knees stopped trembling. My lungs filled with air I didn't know I'd been holding for months. I let him go the night he died. I said, my voice breaking but sure. And I won't carry you anymore. The officer's eyes widened. The gun lowered, not in defeat, but in relief. He knew. The creature staggered, its face twisting, cracking, collapsing like ashen water. Its voice fractured into 1,000 echoes. No, you called me.
You needed me.
I needed love, I whispered, not a ghost pretending to be it. The light flickered once, twice, then burned steady. And with that, the thing unraveled. Its form dissolved, scattering into the air like smoke under sunlight, leaving nothing behind but silence. For the first time in months, silence didn't feel like punishment. It felt like peace. The officer holstered his gun, his shoulders heavy but certain. You did it, he said softly. But I wasn't sure if it was victory or surrender. All I knew was the bed was empty, and I was still standing. I looked at the space where my husband had been, where love had lived, where grief had nearly destroyed me. And I whispered, almost to myself, goodbye, Daniel. The house was quiet again. But this time, I wasn't afraid of the quiet. Because